Okay, so here are the steps for your proposal in terms of statistics. These steps are important. If you do not see a statistician at the proposal phase, you are going to put yourself in a predicament. And I'll explain why. Suppose you skip the step of getting a statistician at the proposal stage and you just did whatever. You collected the data, and from there you went on to, find a statistician. Okay. If you pick the wrong sample size calculation, your experiment may be underpowered, meaning that you don't have as many people that you need to show statistical significance. If you don't carefully plan out the data collection phase, the data collection schema, you could potentially violate one of the assumptions of the test statistic that you chose. And then when you get to a statistician, or maybe you'll discover that no, you can't. You have violated the assumptions of the test, and you cannot move forward and do what you proposed originally, because something that you hit a misstep, you overlooked some vital information, and you did not incorporate that in your plan when you went to execute it. So ironically, at More Statistics, the proposal planning package is less expensive than the other phase, the data analysis phase. And it's funny, and that's kind of ironic, because that phase sets the tone for your project. And I'm going to say something very, there's no advantage to me telling you this. If I were you and I was on a budget and I had to hire a statistician, but I didn't want to hire a statistician for the entire experience, what I would do is I'd hire a statistician at the proposal phase, for the proposal phase, to ensure that what I'm doing is correct. Okay? So at More Stats, there's the proposal phase, and then there's the data analysis phase. Coming to a statistician at the data analysis phase, while that makes sense, you're actually setting yourself up for failure, because you haven't ensured that you have an adequate number of patients or subjects for your project, because you did not sit with a statistician and go over your sample size calculations. You did not sit with a statistician and ensure that your data collection process is going to align with the test statistic that you chose. You did not sit with a statistician and ensure that your project design is conducive to you collecting subjects in the manner that you should collect them for the purposes of what you're doing. All this stuff should be laid down and finalized before you actually start collecting data. And another thing is the data collection phase. And I'll give you an example. This is a basic example, but I see this often. The paired sample t-test, right? What some people do is they ensure that some of the subjects have pairs and not everybody has a pair. And so they get to the analysis phase, they hire a statistician, and the statistician tells them, oh, you've got a couple of people in here that don't have pairs. Well, what does that do to your analysis? Well, that makes your sample size smaller for your pair t-test. So it's like right there, you've compromised your project. You've compromised your scholarly project, your dissertation. So what I recommend you do is go to somebody at the proposal phase, okay, and make sure that you did everything right and that you're ready to rock. And that way, you're not surprised at the end when someone comes to you and says, oh, yeah, you know that test statistic that you put in your proposal? You can't do that. Okay, you don't have the structure to do what you proposed. Okay? And you can't get mad at your committee because for not saying anything, because they're not there watching you collect your data. They're off doing something else. So this is just food for thought for a Monday. Happy Monday. Enjoy your day. Okay, so here are the steps for your proposal.